the act does say they can provide paper or electronic, so it seems reasonable for us to ask to have a paper copy if it's challenging to open up.
KMZ, which I think is a compressed KML file. I'm prepared to authorize someone to sign this already. I don't know if that's fair to anyone else, because I've seen the documents, you've seen the documents, but we can't reasonably deny it.
As Mr. Kingsley would say. Is that a motion?
And I'll second John's motion.
All right, that's a motion.
Involves money.
No.
Receive the money.
We took their money. Do you think it doesn't require?
You do a roll call.
Okay, Harms.
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Yes.
So you're going to be signing that, Tony?
I'm sorry?
Are you authorizing me to sign this then?
Yes.
That was a motion by John. I support it.
Yes.
Okay, correspondence.
We have a number of letters to the board that are in the packet. And also at the table, the ones that came in after the packet was, after the packet was distributed. And they are also back for public consumption on the table in paper form. Mrs. Whitney has put them on the internet, haven't you? Yes. So all of our correspondences are out there. It's not our practice to read them as of 3 p.m. this evening. So if you would go ahead and look at them as we move through this time of selection, you would at least get a feeling for the folks' opinions on different things. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Just, sorry. I believe the next item is public comment again, right?
Call the public.
Call to public.
Hello, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you. So I want to thank you all for your service. I know your job is not easy. And I worked in a factory for 31 years, and I know that it's not always easy working with people. But I do have to talk about the supervisor resigning. I think it's terrible timing, losing our zoning administrator and our supervisor with all the crazy things that are going on in our community right now. Now, I'm not an expert, but according to Google AI, in Michigan, forcing an elected township official out of office requires either a successful voter recall election or removal by the governor. The township board itself lacks the legal authority to fire or remove a fellow elected official. The way an elected official also leaves is by death or resigning. And I feel like Mike was put in a corner and bullied to resign. It seemed very planned. I would think there would be a proper procedure if a board member was violating rules. Warnings, a write-up, a formal meeting about discipline, disclosure to the residents that voted for him. We should have been notified if there were problems with our elected official, and I'm curious if any of this was done. It was not on the agenda that day to talk about Mike resigning. The meeting's agenda was supposed to be about Siri resigning. And I don't think Mike even knew that he was going to be resigning that day. I think the way it went down was shocking, and it seemed very unprofessional, and I want us to do better. What happens if you don't like the next supervisor that comes in? and you want him out. I hope you find a better way to handle an elected official problem in the future and be more transparent with the public when there are problems. All right, so now I got that difficult part over. I have to tell you about the Kalamazoo County Road Commission. I went to their meeting today because they got a federal safety grant to cut down 8,000 trees on the side of the road. Now maybe you remember Washtenaw County got a similar federal safety grant years ago to cut down 1,200 trees in our community. And we had a petition going and we had a lot of public outcry. And today I drove out to Kalamazoo County Road Commission to support the residents. And they had about 100 or more people show up, and it was quite powerful. But I am concerned because if Kalamazoo County Road Commission is successful with cutting 8,000 trees, I'm afraid Washtenaw County Road Commission is going to do the same thing and come back for our trees on North Territorial and elsewhere. They also adopted a new tree replacement policy. They're drafting a new tree replacement policy where when they cut down your tree on your own property, if you want a replacement, you will have to pay 50% of the cost. And I think that is ridiculous. And if that goes through, I promise you, Washtenaw Road Commission is going to do the same thing, because all these road commissions go to meetings and they all talk and they all share their information together. So this is a warning that more of these safety grants are coming, and I think 8,000 trees is too much. So I wanted to mention that. Also with the Lima Township data center fight, they talked about having a defense fund. I don't know if you guys have a defense fund, but it's money set aside if you do have to hire attorneys for fighting big things. And then also if you had insurance, if you were to get sued. Webster Township said they have some insurance if they do get sued, but they weren't sure about if there was a federal lawsuit, how that would all go down. And then with the road ordinance. I don't like this road ordinance. It affects me and it affects my father on Woods Trail. So I would like to propose that private roads could be designated as a natural beauty road. Now, natural beauty roads are only designated by the Washtenaw County Road Commission on their roads. So since we have a private road issue with Webster Township, I think we should be able to designate our private roads as a natural beauty road like Woods Trail. And if you guys haven't been down it, I suggest you drive all the way to the end and see how gorgeous it is to drive along the lake and see the trees and all the electrical and gas, everything's ran underground. And a lot of trees would have to be cut, and it would change the entire scope of the neighborhood if that road would ever have to be widened. And I am concerned because there are some residents that have extra land, and if they ever pass away and their kids inherit it and they're fighting over the estate and they want to sell it, it's going to get sold, and then someone's going to build on that property, and then all of a sudden the driveway's going to have to be brought up to these the road will have to be brought up to the new standards. And I don't believe y'all that you're going to say, oh, it'll be fine, we're going to protect it. Is it really going to be protected 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now? That's why I think having a natural beauty road would give us a little bit more security on these special private roads.
Thank you, your 3 minutes is past.
All right, thank you so much.
Anyone else?
I'm Trish Mockler, some of you know me from the rec committee. And I really came tonight, I lasted, 3 hours, to thank you and to thank really anybody. I don't really know all the details. I'm not sure I want to, of everything that's gone on, but your service to our community I have to thank you because I'm not willing to do it. Okay? And so for everything that all of you have put up with, okay, and the stress, I can't imagine what it's like to sort of go to sleep knowing that this is your community and that you've given to this community. So I want to thank you, and I'm not saying I agree with all the decisions that were made, but again, I'm not in your position. I've never asked to be elected for that, and I want to thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, Paul Zaluka. 33 years ago, the year I built my house, my neighbor decided to sell his property, to rent his property to a cell tower company 18 feet, a couple hundred feet off my property line. It was at that point that I realized I better start attending board meetings and planning commission meetings to find out what the truth is about the ordinance and what truly is going on in this township. What was nice back then, there was no social media spreading gossip and rumors and false information. What you have today, and I started attending meetings, and I would come to a meeting like this, and I'd be the only one in the crowd. Because the rest of the township, if they had an issue, they came to you in person to find out what's the truth going on. Because there was no social media, no internet back then. Unfortunately, I don't want to say. So then I got appointed, because I was doing that, I got appointed to the Parks Committee for 5 years. And then in 2000, I got appointed to the Planning Commission. 25 years later, I'm still on the Planning Commission. I've been in your seat when there's been people in the crowd, sometimes like this, but usually it's a small crowd. People need to come to the meeting to find out the truth, not read social media, not read about an upset township resident who sends out false information. When we're sitting up here at this Planning Commission, we hear people come forward to the panel right now and say something about an ordinance. It's not true. It's not even what we're discussing. You're experiencing that. Hold tight and hold your ground, because you're going to get a lot of that. If this was really a big issue in this town, this has been in the newspapers, what happened here in the last 6 weeks. If it was that big of an issue, you'd have had to rent Mill Creek, the cafeteria, like we had to do when the mobile home park was trying to come into this township. And I was on the Planning Commission. We filled that room with people complaining about a mobile home park. And there was no internet. People found out about that on their own. And they really found out what was really happening. They come into meetings, talking to the Planning Commission. What's happened, I didn't get phone calls about, hey, what happened in those last 2 meetings? I tell them, I said, well, this is what happened. Those people aren't here because I told the truth. That's all I have to say about that. If people want to know what's going on, attend the meetings. Don't start reading what's on social media. Regarding this position, the zoning administrator, since I've been on the Planning Commission 25 years, I know you want to pick a planning commissioner. I got a lot of experience with the zoning ordinance, wrote a lot of them. What you've seen the last 3 years is, I can't think of one ordinance we put in place, and neither did you, that is more restrictive than was there already. The animal ordinance is less restrictive. The road ordinance is less restrictive. The solar panel one that you're going to be reviewing is less restrictive. We're not writing more restrictive ordinances. What's going on is more people are coming to the township. They're doing things that the ordinance controls. They're coming forward saying, hey, why is this being enforced? Because my neighbor has this condition. Well, it wasn't enforced because he didn't have a good zoning administrator. If no one on the Planning Commission wants to do the job, I'll do it, but I will not sit in this office for 6 hours a day for 4 days. I'm retired. I have plans on days, so I'll consider it. I talked to my wife. This is the first time I've heard it from a board member. I heard a rumor about it. But, so I'll think about it. We'll talk about the plans tomorrow. One thing about step 2, you need to do step 2 with finding a zoning administrator and planner before you form the committee, because the committee's useless unless they know what they're looking for. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Maggie Olette, and I live over on Wheeler Drive, right off of the Church Road. I want to say a couple things. First, I realize how important it is to come to the meetings because I've been coming lately. And I used to be on Facebook. And I used to always read the Facebook page, the Webster Township Facebook page. And it was overwhelming how much negativity there was. And this person's lying, no, you're lying, no, you're lying, no, everybody's lying. And I think it's really important. I love the fact that you're videotaping now, or whoever's videotaping, thank you very much. I love the fact because now I understand a little bit more what's going on. So I appreciate all that you do, and hopefully I'll learn more every time I come. Thanks.
Anyone else?
When you go to compare different data, you're talking about Dexter and Northville with the enforcement acts. I think you need to look at townships, rural communities, because you're talking about cities. And I think that that has a completely different tenure. Not tenure, but, timbre, that it's not the same. You don't live in the rural community and expect to have city restrictions put on you. I also think that you should have some citizens on your committees submitting questions if you're going to find a new supervisor. I think you should have them, I know the board gets to elect them, but I think you should make a good faith effort and find some people in the community that would like to have input on the decision, because you guys are all loaded. And it needs to look like you're making an informed, unbiased decision. And the same thing with the planning or the zoning person. You're talking about 2 members of the board, 2 of the planning commission, and 2 of the ZBA. You need to have people that are in the community that don't normally come, but they're concerned. I didn't want to be spending my evenings here because I don't trust what's going on. I would like to come and make positive suggestions. I don't want to see any data centers going in. Please do everything you can to keep them away. I'm not sure how I feel about the private roads because I don't live on one, but I don't think that you should go and ram something down somebody's throat, especially if you could designate it as a natural drive. That would be the perfect solution. So just consider that. That would be appreciated.
Jean Wallace, 5903 Gardner Road. And I'm just going to say, I don't want citizens from Webster Township coming and creating questions or being involved in helping to pick the supervisor, because they're not my elected officials. I got a chance to vote for all of you, and I don't want some random person contributing to a decision that, and I don't know who they are, I don't know what their philosophy is, they're just a random citizen. Certainly they can have an opinion and write a letter or send in some of their thoughts, but I want my elected officials to be the people who make the decisions for me. Thank you.
Hi, Jason.
How's it going?
Welcome.
How you doing? Good to see you here. My name's Jason Corey. I'm probably the newest member of this community. I moved here from San Diego, California, back in August. I'm the guy who bought the party farm. Big pain in the ass. So, I have had, my professional background is engineering and planning, actually. I spent a number of years in engineering, development, construction in San Diego, Southern California, served on planning commissions. Not volunteering for anything, but I am happy, and I did offer, so I'm happy to help. You know, I retired for a reason, and you guys are in a thankless job. I've had my moments, but you've never treated me with anything but courtesy, respect, and promptness. I couldn't ask for more. The alternative, the way I view it as a stranger here, is that we are one foot in the past and planning for a future. And that means that we're standing in the middle of change, and change sucks, and it hurts. There's winners, there's losers, but ultimately, watching the videos, kind of paying attention to the periphery of what's going on, it's okay to disagree, but not be disagreeable, vitriolic, hurtful, degrading down to like South Korea, one step short of like, let's throw down in a meeting. We're all better than that. I agree, road and health big, good intention, and having members of the community volunteer. There's rules and regulations, unfortunately, there's policies that hamstring us, even those people who want to volunteer can't because of liability. That's the world we live in. But to me, there clearly is a breach of trust, whether it was valid or not valid, I'm not in a position to say. But what I know the best way to avoid that is coming to meetings like this, getting involved. Maybe it's having small focus groups of people who are truly, affected. I have no business complaining about a road because I don't live on a private road. But maybe those people who are most affected do. I have a very strong opinion about living in a non-conforming structure. When it comes to the interior of a home, I'm not affecting the footprint of the property. I'm not changing anything. The rules actually, we've had this discussion, allow me for fire life safety to continue to maintain roofs, and I have to ask permission. I do understand not wanting to encroach outward though. And so I think it's, for me, it's been a huge learning opportunity. Trustees more than once has said to me, you shouldn't have having moved here. There's been times where I'm like, oh wow. But to you guys, thank you. I don't know that I agree with everything, but I do know what it's like to be in this situation. And, I just want to say to you, thank you for, being the sport you had. And hopefully, this will go by. We'll get through this. But I encourage you guys to consider having small focus groups, especially when it comes to some of these more contentious issues. It's not binding, but at least you have, community input directly. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Reggie Byron. I live over in London, and I used to be a mainstay at these meetings like 25 years ago. Every meeting, board meetings, school board meetings, all meetings. But everything was running like a well-oiled machine back then. And I'm like, okay. So I stepped away, and now I'm just like, my goodness, I'm reading stuff on Facebook. Jesus, what in God's name is going on over at this township hall? So I said, I'm going to come to the meeting. And I think I might have to start coming to more meetings because there's a lot of people there's a lot of information out there, and I'm just like, who do you trust, who do you believe? So I'm trying to put faces with names and stuff. But that being said, just some things I was just jotting down today when I'm listening. So I'm like, why do we need input about policies from other places? Let's our elected officials do what they think is best for our place, because Webster Township isn't in our township, it's not Dexter Township, it's Webster Township. So we should do what's best for our township. And I think any building that has to have a permit should be required to get a survey. So then you don't have this whole, oh wait, it's here, no, it's here. No, get a survey, get it planned out, and make sure it's right, so that you don't have to mess with it later. I think private roads, and I don't live on one, should be grandfathered. You've had a road for 20, 30 years, and all of a sudden you've got to upgrade it for 2 lanes. It's a mess. And then my last point is, how did we get into this planner mess? Was it a shock she was going to resign? And I'm just confused because I haven't been coming to meetings, but I'm going to be coming to meetings as many as I can get to. So, but yeah, hi, I'm Reggie.
I'm just learning about data center issues. I sent the link to Brand, and I'm going to leave this over on the table, my little printing here. But this was a very, very lengthy, comprehensive article on how to protect your home from data center impacts. I haven't read it all because I just found it, but maybe somebody else will find it of use, and so I'm just gonna put is that okay to do that? Put it on the table if anybody wants to copy the link, and I sent it to you if there's some place to publish it, because this sounds pretty scary. Thanks. Thank you.
I'll circulate.
Rarely say something, but I'm still here. Tom Neal, I live at 7623 Kingfisher Court. I'd like to amplify something that Paul said for the benefit of the people who are still here in the audience. Please not only come to the meetings, but come to more than one meeting so that you understand the process that we're in when we look at zoning issues or township issues. Because if you get the snapshot, you frequently don't get the whole picture. And by the way, I'm on the planning commission. And so that thing, whatever it is, ordinance we're writing, happens over a period of time. It is not in a box today at 3 o'clock. So please take advantage of more than one meeting. And I will say this, typically our planning meetings do not run this late. People at this table and those who come regularly will tell you that we're fairly efficient in our use of time. So thank you very much. Come to the meetings, come frequently, come often.
Yes.
See you tomorrow night.
Yeah, our meeting's tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, same bat time, same bat station.
Anyone else have contact?
Shelley, can I make public comment from you, or can you use my laptop there? Sorry. Thank you. I just, I'm straight away Corey. I didn't plan on saying anything today. I wanted to quietly, do my job and move on. But I just wanted to say some things, if I may. What I learned. The responsibility as a zoning administrator is to administer zoning ordinance consistently, fairly, and as written, regardless of personal opinions or preferences. At times, this means providing answers that applicants, property owners, or residents may not agree with. That probably explains the complaints. However, those responses are based on the adopted ordinance, not, personal judgment. It is not the role of zoning administrator to selectively interpret, waive, or ignore ordinance provisions based on individual circumstances or preferences. My obligation has always been to apply the ordinance consistently to everyone. Well, reasonable people can disagree with the ordinance or its requirements. I sometimes disagree with the ordinance or requirements, but I still have to do my job. When that occurs, the appropriate path forward is to have a public discussion about whether the ordinance language should be revised. Reach out to your board members, reach out to your planning commission members, reach out to the zoning administrator, and then refer to your master plan and then pursue an amendment. And I just wanted to say that for what it's worth, so that people understand doing a job as a zoning administrator is not easy. It takes a lot of consistent judgment and knowledge and education to be able to do the job, and the experience definitely matters. I also wanted to share a few things Paul said, so I wouldn't repeat on that. I agree, social media has the power to bring people together and keep communities informed. But it can also make it easy to assume motives, spread incomplete information, and lose sight of the human side of a discussion. Having shared some thoughts, I do want to end my comments saying that Thursday is my last day. This is my last board meeting. I'm taking many good memories with me, despite of what happened in the last. It's unfortunate. I can't explain why I had to go through it, but I want to focus on all the good memories I'm taking with me. I leave feeling grateful for the relationships I've built here, and I'm satisfied with the contributions I was able to make during my time here, be it with processes or leaving notes or fixing things or doing my job. Well, as you all know, with all the amendments we started, there is always more work to be done. I'm proud of the progress we made together as the board members, with the Planning Commission, with the Zoning Board of Appeals, with the Township Board, with everyone. I feel very proud of the progress we made, positive changes that were accomplished. I hope people also realize that in the long run. Those experiences, lessons, and connections are what I will carry with me moving forward. And I just want to thank you for giving me that opportunity to be able to do what I did. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. All right, concerns of board members.
Just want to provide a little bit of, information. Related to the zoning policy, enforcement policy, it would be my idea, we are getting, just seeing what our neighboring townships are doing, so Dexter Township, Northwood Township. I would think they are classified as rural, similar, especially Dexter. And then just see what they have, see what they say, and then from that, understand what we're doing, and is there something we should be adjusting, or maybe not, I don't know. But that's the intent, just find, just observe what they're doing. And they may or may not have something written, I have no idea. In terms of the supervisor, we selected a process that I think is very public, and you'll see us go through this process together. There is opportunity for public input from call the public before the meeting, and call the public after the meeting. After hearing, we go through that process, so there's an opportunity to provide input from your perspective. Same thing with the meeting on then the 14th of July, to come and provide whatever commentary you feel appropriate before it makes a decision on what they saw and experienced. So I think we're doing, going about this the right way, and hopefully it will result in a good person being selected.
I'd like to make a comment, if I can get through here. I would like to publicly thank Sri for everything she's done in the last several years. She was here before I came. She has been an outstanding planner, and in spite of all of the arrows that have been shot at her, as one of our attorneys has stated, the zoning administrator wears a target. She stood up and did what she thought was the best and the right thing to do. She will be difficult to replace as a zoning administrator. She will be even more difficult to replace as a planner. And while she's taken refuge in the kitchen, I would still just like to publicly thank her for everything she's done for the community.
Hear, hear.
Second.
Anyone else?
I think there's going to be more cheers tomorrow.
Planning Commission.
Well, I'd just like to thank everybody for coming out and saying your concerns or your support on any of the issues that we had. As Tom said, and and Paul said, and a lot of people on this board have said, it's nice to get your input. It's nice to have people at the meetings, especially the planning stuff, when we're discussing this, so it's not, it doesn't come right to the end when we're looking at it, so people can get a little bit of a heads up on what we're talking about. I can say they're not exciting, so if you're expecting exciting on a planning commission meeting, you're not going to get it. But it is a good time to come give input, hear what, the process, see what we're talking about, and give some input at those things. I also want to say that sometimes people think they speak their piece about what they think we should do or we shouldn't do, and if we don't do what they say, they think we're not listening. We are listening, but we've got a lot of voices that we hear, and a lot of voices that we don't hear, and so we have to take a lot of that into consideration. So I just want everybody to know that, and I wanted to say thank you for coming tonight.
Here. Last thing, being up here, anybody that's ever thinking about doing it, you're always trying to find and strike a balance between opposing views. If we do anything, that's what we're doing. The easy problems get solved before they get here. I take the roads question, for example. There's been folks that have talked about both sides of it, and we're trying to find a solution there that's amenable to all parties and strikes the best balance we can.
Any other comments?
There's no tissues in the kitchen.
No.
Find clothes that will